but without the gym.
I am going to be the first one to say I think Jim was afraid.
He's
Facing it, what happened?
facing the reality of an Ohio State loss. But no Jim on the regular episode, but we've brought another Ohio State fan. Neme comes over from the betting show to chat a little bit about Ohio State football, as well as something that the Browns did over the weekend.
What's that, win?
I was waiting to see if you were going to truly replace Jim and give us a shooter.
I think Neme's a realist and understands that these victories are not due to Shadur's 111 yards.
We will get into that. Today is Tuesday, January 6th. It's our first episode of the new year, and a whole lot has happened since 2025, the year of our Lord, has concluded as it relates to our football fandom. The majority of it not ideal, let's be honest. But there are some happy fans in the group. Happy Steelers fans. Alex and I, super happy.
Super happy.
For now.
Hey.
Whoa, Nate. Whoa. We have a team standing right now. And I will say like a sort of team standing because the Texans are still in it, but I'm not sure how committed Jim is to that fandom.
Yeah.
As always, thanks to everybody that's interacting with everybody, with all of our socials, at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter, Sports Stuff with Jim Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. Subscribe, comment, rate, review, poke, like, tickle.
Get the bell on.
Get the bell on.
Ding, ding. Still on the road to 100 subscribers on YouTube. We're almost in the single digits. So if you are not subscribed right now, you're listening. No matter what way you're listening on YouTube and any of the other podcast platforms, get at Sports Jim Muff on YouTube, subscribe, turn those notifications on, and engage with the content because at 100 subscribers, we're going to be giving away
prizes.
So if Nicole's listening and she heard prizes, we are one step closer, Nicole.
She did watch one reel of our show. She watched one of my Road to 272s. And she said she felt as though I was speaking to her in a foreign language.
That would be one of them that would get you in a foreign
That was like
language
of all of the
territory.
ones that you finally listened to, that was what you chose. So thank you for the support, Nicole.
Thank you. All right, let's get into the leadoff. Leadoff is going to have a little bit of a different flair this week, especially with the start of it, because I will start the leadoff by posing a question, something that I believe Nate shared with the group. And I need to know everyone's thoughts on this. This was based on, what was it, Nate? A J.J. Watt question that was posed?
Yes. I don't know if it was from a fan or if it was from Eagle himself. But the question is, how many pizza rolls could you eat before passing out?
So if you had to push the limits all the way till you could do it no more and you went into, I don't know what type of coma would that be, Alex? A carb coma?
A food coma.
Do you have to be?
I think you probably just throw up first, but
Do you have to be sober?
In whatever way you think you could put the most down, Neme.
I would feel like I had to be sober because I couldn't have anything else in my stomach. I think 75.
Oh,
Is that an unbelieving face there, Neme, or is...
Yeah, I don't think that. Yeah, that seems like a lot. How many pizza rolls is 75? How many pieces of pizza is 75 pizza rolls, do you think? Maybe a conversation for another day. But is that like
an entire medium?
Well, here, let's do a quick Google search and see how many pizza rolls are in a serving. How about that?
a serving? It's probably like 8.
10. I don't know.
I bet it's like 6.
The standard serving size of pizza rolls is 6.
So I
Muff
could eat
is AI.
7. I am the Google machine, Neme. I am the Google machine. So if that's a standard size, Alex, you're saying you can have 12 servings.
Yeah.
All right. I think I said initially that I could find a way, if it was passing out and I was truly testing my limits and I could puke and rally, I could get to near triple digits because I have an ability to let things find their way up and out of my body and continue with whatever that is.
Witnessed.
This is AI saying that 45 pizza rolls, the crust of 45 pizza rolls is the same as the crust of a 12-inch pizza.
Ooh.
So if
we're done. Done.
So,
I could if that's
you're eating 90 rolls, that's
comparison
claiming
we're
you're
making.
eating 2 12-inch pizzas, which I could never do ever.
I can down a 12-inch pizza without any problem and have a pitcher of beer with it.
I also have seen that more than once.
Okay. Yeah, I just can't eat. Like, I don't. Yeah, no, I'm not a binge eater. I could probably eat like 40 pizza rolls, probably, or something. 50.
Nate, where you come to?
I think I would start hurting if I was doing it quickly in that 50 to 60 range. That's when I'd start slowing down. But as far as passing out, I don't know how much it would take.
Well,
But-
that's my question too. Is there a time limit? Because if it's just slowly all day snacking, like consistently,
No, I mean, if it's going to make you pass out, I'm saying it's got to be like your Kobayashi or Joey Chestnut doing it.
or you choke on one, or you aspirate and choke and pass out.
Oh, okay.
Asphyxiate yourself.
Well, Alex,
by
if that's the
pizza
case,
roll.
I'll be like, is this what you meant, Alex, like this?
Yeah, do this. If you're making noise, you're not really choking.
That is true.
Just like
So-
all food challenges, I think it have to be done in a sitting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, like-
I think you're looking at 30 to 60 minutes tops here, because realistically, once you get past about 20, you're forcing it. If you're that full,
Yeah.
and you're not going to get much more out of it after about that 20-minute mark. You're just
That's
gonna, it's gonna be sickening everything after that.
You know what this
That's-
sounds like? It would be? A really good punishment for fantasy football.
Whoever
That
lost
is-
in the semifinals has to do it.
Or last in the league. Like, oh, your punishment is see how many
That's
Super
Jordan,
Bowls
by
you-
the way. That is Jim's wife, Jordan, who is last place this year.
What's the
Again,
punishment? Eat till you puke?
There is
or what?
no punishment.
We
No.
should
Alex
do this
Alex
again.
is getting a bottle of liquor. That's Alex's victory. And who did you play?
Jim, Keith.
You played Keith. Keith gets something as well.
I took out Jim.
Is it a mini bottle?
Yeah, it was supposed to be a mini bottle of Jim's choosing. I think that's officially. And Jim usually just says, "Give him Jack," or Jack. So
Thanks,
it's usually what it comes back to be. All right, now that we know how we can gorge ourselves, engage in gluttony, and throw up, let's get into some sports talk. First, in Rodgers we trust. All of the doubters, all of the haters, everyone that said that I was crazy and a fool for wanting Aaron Rodgers on the Steelers roster in the offseason, y'all can shove it right up your bum sticks, because Mr. Rodgers has brought us to playoff glory as the Pittsburgh Steelers secure the AFC North on a last-second field goal miss by Tyler Loop with a final minute drive by Lamar Jackson, and the Ravens put them in that field goal range. And we can thank the good old Catholic Church for this win and appreciate the holy water blessing of the end zone side of the field where we went wide right.
I feel like Neme has so much he wants to say.
I have a lot of questions to that intro, Muff. One, when's the last time the Steelers made the playoffs?
2 years ago.
Okay. When's the last time they won a playoff game?
We're looking like 10 years.
So you cannot give Rodgers a pat on the back until he wins you a playoff game.
Oh, no. This is me giving myself a pat on the back because old Jimmy Boy, who's not here today, told me that Aaron Rodgers is not going to make it through. I want to say he said not through week like 10.
Yeah.
And he
was
said
like
that
adamant.
old frail man was not going to make it through the season, that the Steelers were no better with Aaron Rodgers on their team,
Okay.
and they had no hopes of being competitive this year with Aaron Rodgers at the helm. And not only did he guide them to the playoffs, but he did so without their likely top two receiving threats. Old DeKalen and Darnell Washington not in the mix.
Okay, that is fair. I didn't know it was, again, a pat on the back versus Jim. I thought it was just a pat on the back that you were satisfied with just making the playoffs. When you guys make it very often, you got to get over that hump, which hopefully he can do for you this week.
Yeah. All right. Other questions, Neme, before I continue on.
I think that is the gist of my questions. But I was like, wait, why are we patting ourselves on the back? Like, you want to get to over that hump to win that first playoff game in a while. So hopefully you guys do.
And we have an opportunity against the Texans, Jim's team.
Yeah, that's a good matchup.
Insult to injury.
That's a good matchup
if this goes down.
Yeah.
A little bit of a breakdown of what happened in the game aside from that last second missed field goal. Derrick Henry was just running all over the Steelers in the first half and seemed to, again, disappear in the second half. Not because they didn't try, but just because they couldn't get him going. I would say, pose the question to the group, should there have been a more concerted effort to give Derrick Henry the ball, even though he was not experiencing success in the second half of that game?
I mean,
Nate.
I mean, if you have Derrick Henry on your team, you're not giving him the ball, then what the hell are you doing? But I mean, late in that game in the fourth quarter, I mean, you'll get to it, but they really didn't even in the fourth quarter. They were able to chuck the ball over the yard.
Yes, they were. Alex, thoughts on that? Derrick Henry, not a lot of touches?
Yeah, no, I was going to say that. I think that they were having successful offense for the most part in other ways other than when our defense just made good plays. So I didn't really get like the vibe they weren't trying with Derrick Henry enough. I think they were just doing it other ways. But you're right. When they did go to him, we stopped them.
All right. Nemi, any thoughts on that?
I did fall asleep at halftime and woke up and saw all the points scored, and my SGPs go up in flames when they had a couple of unders in them. So, but I was very shocked at how the first half and second half were so much different based on what I saw. So.
Part of that first half was the Steelers going for a touchdown at the end of the second quarter, which almost came back to bite them in the arse at the end of this game, and also going for it on fourth and about 2 yards with the literal brotherly shove with the Haywards brothers, only to turn it over on downs. So that obviously I text Alex. Alex and I had an individual text chat going on this because it was necessary given the emotion that was about to be poured out if they lost.
Yes.
And I told Alex multiple times, if this lack of attempt of a field goal at the end of the second quarter comes back to bite them, this is going to be a thing. And Alex told me every time to pretty much STFU.
I was like, shh. I'm like, you were trying to speak that into existence, and you need to speak it out of existence by doing nothing.
Yeah. TJ Watt returned in this game from his punctured lung in the dry needling incident. Did come away with an interception. It was more of just in the right place at the right time situation. Not that he forced that. But TJ Watt's return was helpful, I think, overall for the Steelers. Put a little bit more attention to him and gave Alex Highsmith some opportunities.
For sure.
In a less than stellar performance, the Steelers DB specifically, I will point some of this to Jalen Ramsey. Some of it I will point to some just general poor defensive back team play. Got burnt twice on long touchdown passes. It seemed unfathomable at the time the way that the Steelers were at least limiting the Ravens. But Nemi, I know you didn't necessarily get to see this. Nate, any thoughts on those two long touchdown passes and who may be to blame?
Yeah, on the one, I don't know what the busting coverage was, but surely you don't have your middle fucking linebacker covering their number one receiver.
Surely no.
Because when I saw that deep, I think it was the first touchdown to Flowers, deep over the middle of the field, I'm like, why in the hell is Patrick Queen chasing this guy right now? Like, where is Duggar? Where is Ramsey? Where is Porter? Where is anybody that wears a number that starts with a 2, 3, or 4?
Yeah, that was definitely. And then the second one, I mean, it got behind Jalen Ramsey, but it almost looked to me like Ramsey was supposed to be a spy in that situation on Lamar Jackson, and there was blown coverage in the mashup and mix up of the trips they had going on.
The first most frustrating one when we went from the emotions of, oh my gosh, a sack, to like, what the hell, a touchdown. That one hurt.
That one did hurt a big bit. Rodgers' touchdown pass to Calvin Austin to take the lead was followed by a Chris Boswell missed point after attempt. The official stat shows that it was blocked.
Oh,
yeah, something. I'm not surprised by that because when you watch that kick live, it was going down the middle. Then all of a sudden, it took a hard right.
That's what I said. It almost looked like AI, like it was going, and I was like, whoop.
Twitter says there's magnets. It's rigged. Everything's rigged, so there's magnets.
Yes, the
Yeah,
magnets.
don't you know, guys? It was actually hooked up to the Skycam wire, and
Right.
That was the first miss in 4 years on an extra point by Boswell.
That's wild.
Well,
Actually...
a block is still a miss, but it's not like a true miss.
Yeah. Okay. So
it's
really
still a miss on his stats, but I don't attribute that as a missed kick for him.
Depending, yeah, it wasn't like a low line drive type thing where he botched it.
Right.
That's pretty impressive because extra points are kind of far, and he kicks in bad weather very often. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, being in the AFC North, I mean, that's once you get to November, any of your in division matchups are going to be outside potentially in the weather. So Boswell has been a definitely very consistent and solid kicker for the Steelers in the NFL. So we get to the last drive now for the Ravens. They have about 55 seconds left. March down the field, get to about midfield, get over the 50-yard line. Second, I believe it was 2. And then we have the first controversy here, and that is that Ronnie Stanley was flagged for lining up in the backfield as the left tackle. There were definitely some people saying that this was the wrong time to make this call. But since we do have our guru of officiating, not to make a distinction on whether he was lined up in the backfield, but to talk about maybe a little bit of what should probably happen before you throw that flag on a play. So Nate, take us a little bit through how officials communicate with a lineman who's maybe lining up in the backfield throughout the game.
Well, usually we try to nip it in the butt early if we notice it. Especially early in the year, you may let 1 or 2 go, but normally you'll be like going on your radio with the official that's nearby and be like, hey, move number 78 up. He's getting close to being in the backfield. Or you might even go to a coach during a timeout or change of possession. Be like, Coach, I need you to help me out tonight. I need you to get 78 moved up in the line. They're getting a little deep in the backfield here. But for that to be called that late in the ball game, you obviously don't know, and I don't know what the NFL standard is on that, what they were doing throughout the game, if they ever communicated that or not. But to call that late, that guy's got some pretty big cojones.
Yeah, but my thought is we don't know. Like, if he was warned, I don't care what part of the game it is. If that's the rule, and we're saying, if they didn't call it, would Steelers fans have the equal right to be mad and be like, hey, that guy's lined up in the backfield, why aren't we calling it?
I don't think it was even a question throughout the game when it happened. Maybe someone that was there could see it better than we could, but I don't ever recall hearing that throughout the game, like in the commentary or even watching the game, thinking to myself, man, he looks like he's really lined up deep in the backfield.
Yeah, I don't look for that kind of thing, so I wouldn't have thought about that, but...
No, but if it's there, it's there. But usually you give the guy the benefit of the doubt. But maybe he was on that drive, or maybe it was throughout the game, and he's like, all right, it's getting down to the wire here. I can't let it get this bad. But
yeah,
but of course, whenever it's that late in the game, if it is, without having to look right down the line, if it is that bad, you obviously have got to call it. They even tell us all the time in the college videos, like, make the calls big, make them be there. So, unless they got that shot down the line, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it makes
sense. And that's why I didn't want to point to Nate and say whether it was or it wasn't, because not being on the field and not having a shot straight down, that's unfair to ask, Nate in his capacity to say that was 100% a penalty or not.
Mm-hmm. Just makes up for
also why I don't work line of scrimmage.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So that set the Ravens back, obviously 5 yards specifically, but they did convert, had a longer pass to Isaiah Likely that put them more comfortably within field goal range. So then obviously we get to the missed field goal to end the game. And then afterwards, we have the screenshot of screenshots, a still moment in time where many Ravens fans, including Baltimore guru Keith, who I'm going to do a little table read about what Keith sent after the game. Actually, he waited till the next morning. Right, he built it all up and waited till the next morning to send it, where there was discussion amongst the Ravens faithful that there was leverage on the loop field goal miss, which is really just a screen grab of a Steelers player bracing himself to fall, as
I was just
opposed
going to
to
say,
leveraging himself up.
if you watch that video, his arms never were not all the way extended. Like, he never, like, is like this and pushing. So to me, like, that's not... Like, if he had his hands on the backs and pushed himself up and over, that's one thing. But rewatching the play, his arms were, like, extended. I think it's similar to, like, when we talk about, like, an offensive pass interference and seeing, like, the arm extension.
Got it. So Nate, I don't know if you saw that play in its entirety or just a still shot.
I saw the play.
I saw the still shot of it. I mean, I'm actually sending the college rulebook snippet in the group right now of leverage, and because it's something I'm still learning right now, because that's something as my position in college is going to be primarily looking at.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, when I watch the stills live, it's like, yeah, he went over the frame of the snapper, but I mean, to me, it's like he didn't use his teammate to get over him. He was within the 1 yard of the line of scrimmage. He didn't get a running start and jump over the pile. And I really don't think Skoronek's play there had any effect on that kick.
No, it definitely did not. But I mean,
even if it was leverage, he didn't get close to touching that ball.
No, which was what would have made it worse if there was a call there, right? That would have been a bigger problem. Just not if it not being a correct call if it was supposed to be, but because the kick was missed and they would get an extra opportunity. So before we move on here to some Ohio State talk with old Neme, because Jim is hiding behind, children's homework to not be here to face the music. A little table read from Baltimore Guru Keith, sent at 9:03 a.m. Monday morning. First of all, fuck Heinz Heinous Field. Shit looked horrible. Could see the aeration from the Nile frickin' river. B. Not that there was an A. There was just first of all and then B. Refs definitely wanted Steelers to win. Ghost alignment on Stanley. Multiple egregious missed hold calls when Steelers were on offense and using leverage on final kick jumping over center. 3. Steelers cheat. This is my favorite one. Steelers cheat using Harry Potter sorcery and execute some friendliest fires bullshit to take out Hamilton. 4. Steelers fans equal morons. In 2 weeks, we will hear fire Goblin Tomlin. And then we move on to a sidebar. I initially felt bad for Loop missing it. He's also a rookie, but he's 24. Grow up, Peter Pan, and be better. And then he ended his rant with "Bring back Flacco."
One of my favorite highlights you kind of pointed out was that we went for first B 3 4.
Right. So that's Baltimore Guru Keith, who admittedly had kind of tuned out of the NFL season. So I was very surprised to receive that text message on Monday morning. So we move away from the Steelers now, and we move on to some less than ideal news. Before we get to the Ohio State Buckeyes, Nate's Bucs missed the playoffs despite a Saturday win, as the Falcons propel the Panthers to the NFC South title. Nate, I'll ask for your final thoughts on the Bucs season and give us some thoughts on who needs to go and who should be staying in Tampa Bay.
I had faith that they would beat or they would get the win over the Panthers, but I didn't have any faith in the Saints, realistically, to help them out. I mean, they had some injury woes early in the year they couldn't really overcome between losing a couple linemen early in the year. I mean, it just sucked. They started off the year 5-1, and they dropped like 7 of 9 and really couldn't get going. I mean, Mike went down with injury, broke his collarbone, but came back. Godwin was on IR to begin the year. Jalen McMillan, another young receiver, had that freak neck injury in the preseason in Pittsburgh. So they kind of were limping into the season and throughout the season. But like I said in the group during the game, they just needed somebody to rush the passer. So I think they need to really solidify that. They had 2 rookie corners playing that whole game. So they're young there. So I think they'll be all right in a couple years with them. But Mike's not getting any younger. Godwin's not getting any younger. Rashad White, I think, basically said he's leaving after his contract's up. So I think they need to find some depth at receiver and try to find somebody to rush the passer outside of Vita Vea to clog up the middle.
Okay. Yeah.
This
I
is
mean,
on
you've
Reddick,
said
I
a
think,
lot of
is
this throughout the year, right? This is kind of just
Mhm.
continuing the conversations you've been having all season.
Mhm.
It probably would have helped if the Saints played Olave, but he was sick or something like that. So
I think they said he had a blood clot.
oh, that's what
he
happened.
had something like legitimate,
Oh,
like
yeah.
not saying that being sick isn't legitimate, but something that was a little bit more serious than playing through it.
I missed that. Yeah. Damn.
Yeah.
That would have helped though, I guess, having him.
I knew he didn't play, but
100%.
I didn't realize he had blood clot.
Yeah, I missed that.
Yeah.
I thought that's what it said. Let me make sure.
I'm pretty sure I saw that as well, Nate. So I think you can look it up, but I think that's confirmed. All right, so moving on from the Tampa Bay Bucs to the Ohio State Bucs, the Buckeyes go down in the college football playoff, losing to Miami, Florida, 24-14 in the Cotton Bowl. So instead of Jim's viewing breakdown here, we're going to look at Neme's breakdown, initial thoughts, and then thoughts after a few days.
Yeah, we'll say it feels like it was pretty long ago, actually, which is probably a good thing, I guess. Kind of forgot about it, but I would say the first thought that comes to my mind is that we got punched right in the mouth. Miami was tougher and stronger, especially on both sides of the line. Ohio State really couldn't run the ball, just like they couldn't on Indiana, which I was afraid of. So what does that do? It puts a lot of pressure in the hands of a young quarterback. And when you have a lot of pressure in the hands of a young quarterback and a Miami a couple of defensive ends that can really get after the quarterback, that no matter how good your receivers are, that is not a good recipe to have. So I referenced on the betting show that I was kind of afraid of that. If we couldn't, establish the line of scrimmage on offense, that it could become a problem, just like it was against Indiana. And that's exactly what happened. So it is what it is. It was a pretty bad pick six that's saying through, whether it was his fault or Jeremiah's for not blocking the receiver and blocking the corner and letting the corner just come grab the ball. Like, hard to say, but that was probably the difference in the game, was that pick six. Could never get the momentum after that. So, and then it was pretty disappointing that we couldn't stop their running back when we needed to on the final possession to get the ball back. So again, I think we got punched in the mouth. They were bigger, stronger, and we didn't live up to what we needed to. It does feel like, Jim might not agree with this, but it feels like Ohio State really has their team built to play the spread offense and play against spread teams and spread people out, and they're faster than them. And that's just sometimes not how the games go. And in the Big Ten, we can get away with that because the teams just aren't nearly as athletically gifted as Ohio State is. But when you find someone that is strong in the trenches and fast like that, they match up well against us. So I thought that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a lot of the game was won and lost in the trenches in this one. Right, that's where, and even though, right, there were many people saying afterwards, and I don't agree with this, that Miami was dominant in this win. Ohio State was still within 3 points, right, in the latter stages of the game. So to say that Miami was dominant, I think is a bit hyperbole. But I mean, Miami obviously built a lead that they could sustain, and then performed and stepped up in the big moments.
Yeah, exactly. Goes back to the bye week stuff. Like, doesn't matter, does it not matter? The only person that really figured it out this year was Cignetti. Everyone else, the bye week team lost. So I don't know if it matters or doesn't matter, but they were more prepared, and it does feel like they got dominated just because of the line of scrimmage stuff. Because again, a lot of the game is won on the line of scrimmage, and when one team's winning both sides of the line of scrimmage, it does feel like domination. So maybe that's why people thought that.
Indiana and Ole Miss, right?
Oh yeah, Ole Miss. Did Ole Miss? Yeah, Ole Miss. Yeah, Ole Miss.
Ole Miss didn't have a bye.
No.
Oh, okay.
It was
Sorry.
Georgia had the bye in that
Georgia
game.
had the bye. Yeah.
I
So
mixed up my thoughts.
Signetti is the only one that kind of
Yeah,
figured it
just-
out, got his team up, and even they started slow. Not to pivot, but they started
Yeah.
slow, but then figured it out at the end. So
They have started slow, but that game was never in question.
no.
So I mean, I think it stands to reason. I think you found something, Neme. I don't know if this is of concern, but right, we get straight from the New Year's weekend games and the New Year's games into the transfer portal. So, what is Ohio State looking for? Are they looking to continue to build in these skill positions, or do they need to go out and find some dogs on the lines?
Yeah, I think they do. I know they signed a D end today. Was it from Georgia? They got a D end from Georgia. I think they need to get after the quarterback a little bit better. I think they need to get Ohio offensive lineman started for 2 years, transferred out. So again, whether they told him he's out of here or whether he found the writing on the wall, I don't know. But yeah, I think they need to get bigger in the trenches, and next year will be tough. They're going to lose. They're losing a decent chunk. So I'm obviously we get Jeremiah Smith back and Sayin back and stuff, but Bo Jackson back, but Downs and Carnell Tate and stuff going. Like they're going to lose some stuff. So yeah, I think we need to address some stuff in the portal, but none of the like
It
flashy
seems like,
skill positions.
It seems like losing like people like Tate, but I don't know that helps Jeremiah Smith's cause any either because he was already double teamed and now you don't have any distraction.
Yeah, they're bringing in a true freshman that's supposed to be a stud.
Yeah.
Which is why there's a lot of Ohio State receivers entering the portal. I would assume they just had another one today that a 5-star entered the portal, and Jeremiah Smith was not happy about that. But they need weapons to take their minds off of Jeremiah Smith for sure. So hopefully Chris Henry comes in and is as dominant as he's supposed to be.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
We'll see.
We will see. Question, Neme. Now, this was already going to be a question, but then a loyal listener reached out to me and asked, we need to make sure that Jim gets this question and this question gets answered. What was a more successful season? Last year's Natty or this year's season with the Michigan win?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think Natties are more successful than Michigan wins, but I think it's good that they had kind of both now. They got the Michigan win, didn't win the Natty, got the Michigan loss, won the Natty. So hopefully 1 year they'll put it all together, beat Michigan and win the Natty. I don't know if beating Michigan, Michigan's obviously a little bit on a downward trend. So if they don't beat Michigan the next couple years, that's probably a problem in itself because they're on the downward, we're on the upward, kind of, after Harbaugh left. But yeah, I think what's better, I would say winning a Natty, but that's really the main goal. But we got to experience both in 2 years. Pretty cool.
So we'll wait till maybe Thursday when we record the betting episode to get Jim's take on what is the more successful season. All right, we're going to come back to the college football playoff, but before then, we're getting the NFL Week 18. This is going to be a quick hitter, go through the scores, any playoff implications that were out there, as well as any additional information of note about the teams, the matchups, or any individual player contributions in this one. So we've already said, the Bucs won their Saturday matchup against the Panthers, 16-14. Obviously, the outcome did not result in the Bucs playoffs. Next, we have the Seahawks beating the 49ers 13-3, which locked up the number 1 seed in the NFC for the Seahawks. A little bit down game for the 49ers, who also lost. Who was the backup middle linebacker that had replaced Fred Warner?
Not sure.
Anybody remember the name?
I don't.
Out now. Substantial injury, not likely to be back for any type of playoff run. So I think that's a big deal that they lost their backup middle linebacker, who in that defense is supposed to be the guy. The Texans beat the Colts 38-30. Texans secure the number 5 position in the AFC. Rivers did not play in this game for the Colts. Riley Leonard put it out there, and there are all the rumors already about Rivers returning to the NFL as a coach. Do we think that's going to transpire?
He has a good mind for the game. I mean, I feel like that was clear, even though he's physically, obviously, his age and out of practice. But like I think he seems like the kind of player that would make a good coach.
Yeah.
Like when they sorry, 1 second. When they say coach, are they saying head coach or like a quarterback coach or what?
I just seen coaching. I would assume he's probably going to come in some assistant or like a position coach to start out. That would be my guess. So yeah, Nate,
He's
thoughts on
coached
that?
a lot of children.
Young
I
adults.
can see Philip Rivers coming in and being like maybe a quarterback coach or like an offensive analyst or something like that in some capacity.
Yeah. Neme, any additional thoughts there?
No. I mean, he seems like a guy that would coach. Sounds like Matt Ryan's trying to do something like that too. Something.
Well, Matt Ryan's going to be doing some other things. In this game, the Colts, notorious for fake punt situations, run a fake punt for a first down, followed by a punt formation fake punt again on first down, where they picked up some yards. Did anybody else see this?
No.
The ultimate
I
trick
heard
play.
about it. I couldn't believe it.
The ultimate, it was trick play. It is the most tricky of plays. They lined up on punt for fourth down, earned the first down, and then lined up immediately again in punt formation.
The defense was confused. We'll just say that.
That's funny.
As they should be. The last bit of this from this game is the Colts' Sauce Gardner somehow achieved a worse record as a player this year than the worst team record, as he, as a player, was on teams that went 2-15 this season after he was traded to the Colts mid-season from the Jets. So nobody had it worse this year than Sauce Gardner.
That goes to one of the notes on the Jets down below in the notes, but didn't have an interception all year. Sauce Gardner is a reason for that.
He's definitely part of the reason. For at least half of the year, he was part of that reason. Next, we have the Browns beating the Bengals 20-18. Shador?
Yeah, he definitely got the win, baby, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, so the defense, I'll probably have to hop off after we talk this, but so Shador wasn't the reason they won, but he obviously was the quarterback for a winning game, so he has some play of it, right? 2 pick sixes, or no, fumble return and a pick six, pretty wild. Yeah, Myles Garrett's sack record. The fastest, they call it a get off, but fastest get off in like the league this year or something, like off the line,
like
that play.
0.2 seconds.
Yeah, something insane. And people are on Twitter like, oh, he laid down and Burrow laid down and stuff. And obviously it's not the case because they were pissed off when they stopped the game after. So they obviously weren't in on it. So he just happened to, either it's a luck. I don't know what getting off the line, like, is that luck or is that guessing the count correctly? Or is that like skill? I don't know, but they worked out that play and got him the record.
Yeah.
So, but he also didn't get the record and just go sit on the sidelines. He played the rest of the game, so I can applaud him for that. We're gonna talk Browns real quick. So Stefanski's gone, right? Can I talk that real quick, or you want to wait?
Yep, have at it.
Okay, so Stefanski's gone. I read a little thing today, and I agree with it. So they're building the new stadium in like 5 years, and they sent out like requests for season ticket holders of if they would buy the PSLs at the new stadium, and the PSLs at the new stadium are like between $500 and like $50,000. Like they're just literally insane just for the PSLs because they're trying to recoup.
Alex, just so you know, that's not pumpkin spice latte.
No, that's premium seat licenses. But
gotcha. I was gonna ask that when you were done, but I was gonna leave it.
Okay, premium seat licenses, which basically means you have access to that seat for all events at that venue, but you still have to buy the tickets. So PSL just means you own the seat and you have access to tickets for those events, for any event at the arena.
Okay,
we'll call it.
Got ya.
So anyway, they sent out this survey, got horrible feedback for the pricing and everything. So now Jimmy Haslam's coming in and saying, like, now Jimmy Haslam's trying to be Jerry Jones. We all know that. He's not. Well, Jerry Jones sucks too, but he's not. He's even worse. So he walks in. He's the one that fired Stefanski. I don't even think Andrew Berry fired Stefanski. They were kind of still getting along and stuff. So the thing is, Haslam walked in and was like, okay, like, Kevin, you're gone. Like, so then Haslam had a press conference and he's like, see, fans, 8 wins in 2 years we can't have that. I'm going to make it better for you guys. It's all about you guys. you deserve more wins than 8 wins. So anyway, point being, he's trying to sell these fans that, keep these tickets, we're going to get better, as opposed to like actually having a plan to get better, because he doesn't have a plan. So they have no plan. But then they kept the GM because he said he had a good kicker free agent signing, and he had 2 good second-round picks. Like, those are the excuses he gave that why Andrew Berry still has a job. I'm like, what are we doing?
If you ask the
And he
Ravens,
drafted 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah,
in the higher draft
again,
of the 2 barely played.
Yeah, it's so tilting. He didn't mention the bad. He just pointed out like 3 random good things, and just saying like that's why the GM's still around. And you know why the GM's actually still around, in my opinion, is because they got rid of Paul DePodesta. They now fired Stefanski, and if they get rid of Barry, there's literally not one person in the organization that understands football. If they get rid of Andrew Berry right now, literally, they don't. He would have to like hire somebody like to, figure out, like, he wouldn't know what to do. Like, it's just insane. Like, everyone, there's no one there. There wouldn't be anyone there anymore. So anyway, that's why they kept Barry, and they're going to let Barry hire the new coach, and then he'll probably get fired in 2 years. And anyway, Haslam's just trying to be Mr. I don't know. He doesn't know football, but thinks he wants to just because he owns the team type guy. So that's my take on that. So we'll see what we do, but they don't have a plan. No way.
No way. No plan.
Maybe John Harbaugh.
All right, I know. Yeah, there you go. I mean, that would be a positive direction in the plan.
He'll go to like New York or something before the Browns get him. There's no way he would pick the Browns to go to. There's no way.
Well, and in division, that would be a real problem for the Ravens if he ends up in division.
Yeah, he'll probably go to the Giants or something.
Yeah. Sorry, bud. I'm not going to get any better there.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'll see you on Thursday. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
All right. Next, we have the Falcons taking down the Saints 19-17. Obviously, this was bad news for Nate and the Bucs. Vikings beat the Packers 16-3. Packers really were not playing for anything in this one. They already had the number 7 seed in the NFC, as they were not able to win their division. We had Clayton Tune out there, which just was one of the worst offensive situations of the entire weekend.
Yes.
Jags take down the Titans 41-7. The Jags needed this win to secure the AFC South. Liam Cohen now becomes the only first-year head coach in NFL history to win 12-plus games after taking over a team that had 4 or fewer wins in the previous season.
They look legit.
Coach of the year.
100%, without a doubt. If he does not win that, then there's something wrong. The Giants take down the Cowboys 34-17, as the Giants still don't understand how to appropriately tank and play their way out of a top 2 pick with this win in a game that the Cowboys still had some of their players on the field.
I get tanking, but I also am like a little bit like, you know what, you go Giants. You played out the rest of the season. Good job.
Apparently they didn't see value in a top 2
versus a top
5 pick. Right, exactly. Rams take down the Cardinals 37-20. Win for the Rams helped them secure the number 5 seed over the 49ers. The Raiders 14, the Chiefs 12. The Raiders get a win and still find a way in the number 1 overall draft pick with the Giants loss. And the last time that the Raiders had the number 1 overall pick, they chose Jamarcus Russell. So who would be the worst quarterback for them to take in this draft class?
Don't even know all the guys that are eligible, but probably somebody from a non-power 4.
But they take Drew Aller, number 1.
That would be bad.
Yeah, that could do it.
Coming off an injury in a less than stellar senior campaign, but they fall in love with his measurables, his arm talent, size.
What round didn't they take Darius Hayward-Bay? Was that them?
Yeah,
was
that was the first round too.
Yeah, and everyone's like, "What?"
Yeah, so we'll see. Hopefully, the Raiders can get something right on this one, or they just pick out of it, trade out of it, and let somebody else make the big mistake. It might be, but trade up the Giants. Give them the Giants.
That's what I was just.
The Giants don't need a quarterback right now.
I was just gonna say, what if this is all a setup for the Giants? Knew that they were gonna trade up and they didn't need to win, and they didn't need to lose. So they're like, well, we're gonna win then.
Yeah. We'll see. The Commanders 24, the Eagles 17. Eagles had already secured the NFC East, so nothing to play for there. Patriots 38, Dolphins 10. The Patriots were, played to win this game without knowing what the outcome of the Broncos game would be. The Lions 19, the Bears 16. This would have potentially meant something to the seeding if the Eagles hadn't lost in this one. And then Broncos 19, Chargers 3. Secured the number 1 spot in the AFC. The Broncos do with this win. Bills 35, Jets 8. Josh Allen keeps his consecutive start streak going, 135, after he took one snap and handed it to James Cook.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. The Jets, as Nate alluded to earlier, I think you stated it, end the season as the only team on record, which the record goes back to 1933 in this particular stat, to not have an interception throughout an entire season. How you don't luck your way into one at some point.
Even like a tip or something.
Mm-hmm. And I think you bring in the defensive coordinator from the Lions.
There's just, and you have Sauce Gardner, right? Somebody who's supposed to be, not a top 2 or 3, but definitely a top DB.
Alex, everything all right over there?
Sorry. No, the end of the Mountaineer game, it was 1.9 seconds. We were inbounding under Cincinnati's hoop, inbounded it to Cincinnati, like threw it, they intercepted it and put up a 3 really quick, but missed it because it's a 2-point game. So that would have, if they had made that, they would have won.
So WVU wins?
Yes, WVU wins. Woo! It was it was a close game at the end. That's why I was getting a little distracted. But I'm back. It's over. We won.
We're back. All right, and the last game obviously was a Sunday night game. Steelers 26, Ravens 24, period. So we have the NFL playoff matchups. We have the byes coming into this weekend. The Broncos and the Seahawks get their respective byes in their conferences. The Saturday matchups at 4:30, we have the Rams at the Panthers. What are our initial thoughts in this game? Alex?
I think the Panthers made the playoffs, and that's exciting for them, but I think they will quickly be seeing themselves out.
Nate?
This one could be closer than we think. This game happened in Carolina like a month or a month and a half ago. Carolina showed up that day and beat them.
Indeed, they did. I think it was a weather game too, right? I think it was a rainy game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it might have been like a rainy game or something, but in Stafford, we trust in this one.
Yeah, you gotta respect that and trust that until it's proven otherwise in this setting. I'm going to be on the Rams here, but I do agree with Nate that I think it's going to be a better matchup than maybe some are expecting. Next in the 8:00 matchup, the primetime matchup on Saturday, we have the Packers traveling to Soldier Field to take on the Bears. I would like to point out that if you don't remember, I attended a preseason game of the Bears earlier this year.
Oh, yeah.
So
you must have given them
I was
good
at
luck.
Soldier Field.
Did you give them some tips while you were there?
I gave them 0 hints, tips, or tricks in order to have a better season. I just observed, multiple people way more excited for a preseason game than I would expect. But obviously, they knew something I didn't because their Bears win the division and make the playoffs.
I think it's kind of cool that it's Bears Packers too, just because that's always been a rivalry. So
yeah, 100%. Nate, what are your thoughts on this game?
Packers are kind of limping into this one a little bit, but it's a divisional game. Third time they're going to be playing each other. This one is going to be a dogfight.
Yeah, Alex?
I lean towards the Bears winning this game, but I do agree that feels like it's going to be a close, good game.
Yeah, and it's not like, to me, I agreed. I think the Bears pull this one out. It's not like the Packers have this overwhelming experience, right, on their team. So to say that Caleb Williams, doesn't have the experience, who in the Packers sidelines is bringing this wealth of experience into this game? They have a young receiving core. Jordan Love, still a younger quarterback as far as his being a starting quarterback. They have Josh Jacobs, but what do they got? Right. So I give the edge to the better team in the regular season in this one at home. Give me the Bears. On Sunday football, we have the Bills at the Jaguars, the 1 o'clock kick. Alex, how do you feel about this game?
This one is one that I probably have the most trouble reading. I think the Jags are definitely the hotter team, and I think that they could catch the Bills here. I think the Bills have more of that playoff experience, though, and especially with Josh Allen versus Trevor Lawrence. I'd lean Josh Allen in the seniority and the veteran status to lead the team, but I think the Jags are hot right now. So that's why I'm going back and forth with the two.
Yeah. Nate, what do you think? Is Josh Allen or is that Paul Skeens out there?
Depends who you ask. But I think this one could be the potential of the highest scoring affair of the weekend.
I 100% agree. I think there's going to be a lot of points here. One, we already know that the Bills have been having to open it up all season because of a poor defense. And the Jags have done nothing but put themselves in a position to score points and to win games. I see this one. I agree with Nate. I think this could be like a 38-35 game. A close one, comes down to the last possession. Next on Sunday, we have the 49ers at the Eagles. Two teams kind of not limping necessarily all because of injury status, but just definitely not bringing their best version of themselves into the first round of the playoffs here. Nate, what do you think about this game?
This is interesting, is like you were saying, how the Eagles kind of rested their guys. They could have been the 2 seed. So did they like the matchup better with the Niners potentially? I mean, the Niners could have been a different seed too. But if the Eagles don't win this one, I think we know Philly's going to get pretty loud about Sirianni like they always do.
Yeah.
So
Alex, what do you think?
I think this one will be
just what I've seen. I think that the 49ers would have my vote out of the two teams.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Eagles here. Give me the team at home with the 49ers team that is, like I said, definitely have some injury issues. Who knows what version of George Kittle we're going to get. Christian McCaffrey's the mainstay, but if you can corral him, this may be all she wrote for the Niners.
I think even
in the prime time.
No, I think in the same vein as like saying which George Kittle shows up. I mean, which Brock Purdy? I've seen him where he looks like prime Patrick Mahomes, and I've seen him where he's just like, okay, average, whatever. So I don't know.
All right.
Get on.
In the primetime Sunday matchup, we have the Chargers at the Patriots. The lighthouse will be illuminated, and they will be trying to beat a team from the West Coast, traveling all the way across the country. Patriots obviously have had a great season. Do we think this continues in round 1, Nate?
based on what I saw from the Chargers this past week against the Broncos. Yes.
Yeah, Alex.
I completely agree.
Yep, give me the Patriots here as well, straight up. We'll talk more about betting on Thursday. And in Monday Night Football, the matchup of matchups, the Texans traveling into Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. Alex, what are your keys to victory in this game?
Keys to victory are going to be throwing the ball downfield to DK Metcalf. I think getting him more incorporated and also continuing the strong running back play we had. I feel like we were really utilizing them to what their strengths are. So I think obviously our offense and the defense that we just saw show up. That's another problem. Our defense is so hot and cold and our offense is hot and cold. So on the days when they're both hot, we actually have a good team. But they're just so labile and you don't know who you're going to get. So I think consistently showing up and building off some of the positives from last week.
All right, Nate, thoughts on this game? Any keys to victory for either side?
I'm going to be interested to see how do they deal with the pass rush from Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson. I think if you can contain those two guys, you got a decent shot.
Yeah, agreed there. For me, I agree. I think this is going to be more about the running attack for the Steelers. They cannot be one-dimensional in this game. That will not suit them well. That allows for what Nate just said, the pass rush to definitely disrupt and or get to Aaron Rodgers. So I think the Steelers need to make a conscious effort to at least try to run the ball consistently in the first 2 quarters, and then whatever they have to do in the second half, they have to do. But they cannot be one-dimensional in this game and find any success. We'll get more to the thoughts on the matchup here in the betting episode on Thursday. So we transition now from the NFL into college football. We've already talked about Miami beating Ohio State 24-14 in the Cotton Bowl. We move on to the Rose Bowl, a soggy Rose Bowl. The field, not so much, but everything around that field was an absolute rain dumpster. It was just a dumpster of rain, a dumpster of a bucket full, any way you can talk about it, battling the elements leading up to the Rose Bowl. But Indiana, in this particular situation, comes out on top 38-3 over Alabama. Heisman Mendoza shows back up. Thoughts on this game? Let's start with Alex.
I think my biggest thought after watching this game and watching Ohio State's game was I really wanted to publicly ask Jim if he still felt like Julian Sayin should be up for Heisman, or if he was okay or getting more okay with Heisman Mendoza. But I think Indiana looks strong right now. Last year, I kind of felt like Indiana was fake good. Like, it was fun to root for them, but I really didn't truly believe they could go anywhere. This year, especially after watching that definitive victory, I think that they have a real shot here.
Yeah. Nate, what are your thoughts on this one?
I mean, just to piggyback what Alex said, I mean, Indiana looks like the real freaking deal right now. And who would have thought about this just 2-3 years ago?
Yeah. This is one of the quickest turnarounds, if not the quickest turnaround in college football at this level. So I put a little bit of note here for myself. Heisman Mendoza, Fernando Mendoza, the antithesis of college football quarterbacks of this age in the NIL culture. To me, I mean, honestly, it does feel genuine the way that he approaches his conversations, his press conferences, his post-game talks. And there are reports, which I'm sure can be easily supported, that he is incredibly cerebral, is an information nerd, likes to process everything, get everything he can. There were reports out there that during the Heisman ceremony, or leading up to the Heisman ceremony, he was the first person ever to ask for the full bios of all of the Heisman winners that would be on stage, so that he could study and then talk to them using the information that he gained from those bios.
He sounds like you. Like, that sounds
He's
like
a confirmed nerd.
That's
right?
definitely a
Totally.
move you would do.
Yeah, a confirmed nerd, confirmed definitely cerebral assassin. Whether that translates in the NFL with his skill set, I don't know, but I do think that this does just kind of put it home that he was the person to win the Heisman this year.
Yeah. Well, and
right?
similarly, they talked about how he like memorized everyone on his team's name before the first practice, so he could like walk in and start making like personal connections with the team. I'm like, that's going the extra mile and like putting the work in. You earned the Heisman, man.
Yeah. In the Sugar Bowl, we had Ole Miss with a all-time comeback and classic ending, beating Georgia 39-34. Nate, what were your initial thoughts on this game?
Initially, when they started off slow, I'm like, all right, here it is. Coaches are starting to jump ship. This is where the wheels are going to fall off the bus. And then all of a sudden, man, it just clicked for them. And they are fun to watch. They're fun to root for. The storyline right now with everything going on, I want to see them versus Indiana in the final.
Oh, that would be a fun matchup. Alex?
Yeah, I very similarly. Once they started clicking, even though it was a close game, I just like had a feeling that they were going to win. Like, they just had it that day. They had a chip on their shoulder, I think, with the Lane Kiffin losing. I think they have that "we can do it without you" mentality, and it shows through their passionate play. The quarterback looked excellent, so I think if he can continue to do that, they're also real contenders here.
Yeah, 100%. Agree with both of you. Definitely showed a lot of grit, a lot of moxie, especially in that final drive to get that touchdown and go up. Shameless, I guess, I think he already had to apply for an additional year. I think he put in a medical request from previous years, some special exemption, special requests. So if he makes his way back next year, that's your Heisman front runner. Right?
Yeah,
I don't care what happens the rest of this playoff. Because of what he did in that game, he's going to be the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman going into the start of next year. And then lastly, we had the Orange Bowl as Oregon takes down the Big 12's hope, Texas Tech, 23-0.
Oregon just played with its food. I mean, we tried, and but Oregon looked dominant. Oregon looked bigger than us, strong. I say us, I'm the Big 12 champion, but bigger than Texas Tech, smarter, more athletic, and just all around. So Oregon outplayed 100%.
Yeah, Nate.
Yeah, I mean, Oregon looked like a different Oregon team defensively than they did against JMU. I mean, that was their big thing they kept talking about during the games. Like, oh, they gave up 500 yards, 30-some points, and then they're like, oh, yeah, you think that was a fluke? Okay, we'll show you defense.
Yeah, and they showed up. Texas Tech offensively definitely was stalling. Obviously, there's already the transfer portal, which is claiming Texas Tech's quarterback at this point. So definitely the defense to win it, did not have the offense to support that in this particular matchup or for the college football playoff itself.
Yep.
Which brings us to the semifinals in the Fiesta Bowl on Thursday. We got Miami taking on Ole Miss. And then the Peach Bowl on Friday, we have Oregon taking on Indiana. What is our expected, or what do we want to be in the final college football game of the season, the national championship? Nate, I think you've already said this, but say it out loud again.
Ole Miss and Indiana.
All right, Alex.
I agree with Nate. That's who I would like to see.
I want to see Miami, Indiana, because I want to see just two teams that are just going to just pound it in the trenches, right?
Yeah.
The offensive and defensive line play in a Miami, Indiana game would be just awesome for me. And maybe that's just, a pie in the sky type version of what I want to see out of college football. But I think it would just be the opposite of what has been propped up with college football, with spread offenses and, finding ways to score boats and boats of points. I want to see in the trenches decide the national championship.
Yeah.
All right, so into some other college football talk before we kind of wrap it up with some hirings and firings in the NFL. I'm not going to go deep into it. In fact, I'm going to let this be. I was going to go into some transfer portal highlights. For now, it's not worth it. There's still a lot going on, but just the number of players in the transfer portal right now is unreal. It's a testament to the NIL era. It's a testament to not staying committed to a team. It's a testament to not just the players not staying committed, but there are multiple reports out there that teams are just pretty much saying, yeah, you got to go in the portal. We got to make room for other people. And I think that's worse than players looking to get their bag.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you're committing to me when I think it's not a secret that me and my rocker miss the old committing to a team for 4 years on both sides. But I think, unfortunately, the schools are are on the side of they still are committing to a kid for 4 years. And I think that if you want to go ahead and make the argument they're going to school, realistically, it's not fair to take someone into a school and then say you have to leave. Yeah. Because I think that's that the potential to disrupt a degree, career path, future is greater than if they're making that decision themselves.
Yeah. Nate, thoughts on this? Have you seen anything of interest or any of those reports that I'm mentioning?
He nodded and there he goes.
He gone.
He nodded his
Nate's
head no
gone.
and said, I have not. So.
All right. Some other college football news. We got Kyle Whittingham, the new head coach at Michigan. I think we had referenced that in the betting episode, but there we go for that one. Andy Koldenicki out at Penn State, returning to Kansas as an associate head coach. Chip Kelly, the new offensive coordinator at Northwestern. Ohio State expected to hire Cortez Hankton as their new wide receivers coach. He coached Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. at LSU. And some other college sports talk. This would usually end up in other interesting news in sports, but there's limited action in that one. I had to bring this up because this is just, to me, the absolute epitome of hypocrisy within college sports. Two-time Division III cross-country runner-up and 2-hour, 12-minute marathoner Mohamed Bati was ruled ineligible by the NCAA for accepting a $6,000 donation from his home community in Ethiopia to help him pay for tuition. This man already works 40 hours a week during a graveyard shift, is a student athlete, and then because he is a marathoner, an aspiring Olympic marathoner, is running about 20 miles a day as part of chasing that dream.
Why isn't this
How in
just
the world?
Yeah, why isn't this just NIL?
Because it's Division III. They don't get scholarships. They get nothing.
They don't get NIL.
I do not know how Division III, but they cannot receive any scholarships for athletic participation. So I'm assuming NIL is also in a similar boat.
Then why can't this just be like if I had a family friend who wanted to pay my tuition?
That, Alex, is a good question that I don't have an answer to. All I know is that this was the outcome.
This makes me very angry.
As many other people are.
I mean, come on. In the day and age we live in with the NIL crap, and then you're going to say a kid who's like busting his ass and he has his own back home family community trying to support him to further himself, and you're going to say no? Come on. You're that's just asinine to me, and this is where the problem is. You're gonna let some athlete take millions and millions of dollars just to drive around in a Lamborghini, but you're not gonna let a kid get $6,000 to pay off his tuition. Bite me. Bite me.
Bite me. There it is. There we got it. So here we go. This started a GoFundMe, which ultimately raised nearly $9,000 from more than 90 donors. The problem is Division III school, which means student athletes do not receive athletic scholarships, and NCAA athletes are forbidden from accepting tuition money from donors.
What if I was a Division III athlete and my parents wanted to pay? Would they be considered donors?
I'm guessing not, because you're a dependent.
I would have just somehow funneled it. I would have given the money to the parents and been like, okay, then we'll just give it to his parents and he can pay. They can pay.
That's the way that the cookie crumbles here, Alex. That's what we got.
I'm mad.
I was very mad when I saw this, and I had to do a few different searches to make sure that I wasn't getting got, and I was not. It was supported by multiple news articles, so there we go. Yeah, that's what we got. So in the NFL firings and hirings, right, getting out of the college world, we've talked a little bit about this. John Harbaugh out for the Ravens. Apparently that's the cost of a losing season in the AFC North for everybody, aside from the Bengals the Bengals, right? If you were a loser in the AFC North, you got fired this year, unless you had the worst record.
I was watching ESPN the other day just in the background, and they were doing like the hot takes. And one of the hot takes was the loser of the Steelers-Ravens game, their coach gets fired. And I was like, no, not a chance. I really didn't believe that. If anything, I would have thought, I know it sounds crazy, but I would have thought Mike Tomlin would have left somehow than John Harbaugh. My mind never went to Harbaugh getting fired. So when I read that today, it was a shock to me. If anything, I thought somehow Mike Tomlin gets, I wouldn't even say gets fired, but he's out somehow.
Right.
But
accepts an opportunity. People are talking about him getting into media.
Yes, but the Harbaugh thing, no, I don't like it. I'm not a Ravens fan, and I'm not like a huge Harbaugh fan, but I think that it's not fair. I mean, I think he's had so many good seasons, and I don't know. I don't really like this firing. I don't know that right now you're going to get anyone much better.
Yeah, I agree. Also, we have Kevin Stefanski out as the Browns head coach. Neme already alluded to that and talked about that a little bit. Pete Carroll out with the Raiders. They're going to be absorbing the last 2 years of his salary.
I could see Harbaugh at the Raiders. I'm calling it right now. Harbaugh to the Raiders. Jim, when you listen back, put this in the vault.
Put it in the vault, Jim. Jonathan Gannon out for the Cardinals. So he doesn't outlast his contract in Arizona. There's also a lot of decisions about what they're going to do at the quarterback position going into next year.
Yeah.
So yikes on that one. The Falcons had a lot going on right now. Rich McKay is no longer the CEO of the Falcons. Raheem Morris is out as head coach, and GM Terry Fontenot is also out. Because he did such a great job bringing in Kirk Cousins and then drafting Michael Penix. So he is out, and they're expecting Matt Ryan to be hired as a president of football for the Falcons.
Natty Ice.
So we got a lot going on in hot Atlanta.
Natty Ice.
Yeah, there you go. The Colts will be retaining head coach Shane Steichen and GM Chris Ballard. Do you think this is a good move to retain both of them, Alex?
I'm okay with it. I mean, the season didn't end how they wanted it to, but they had some gold moments in the beginning. So I think saying, hey, you started good, show us next year that you can continue to build that and finish how you started, and we'll talk. I think next year they're in trouble if they don't do well.
Yeah, there's a lot of chatter that Chris Ballard continues to get this odd pass as the GM that was around for the Colts whenever Andrew Luck decided to retire prematurely and without notice. Really.
Like saying you stuck with us through our downtime, so we're going to stick with you through yours and try to get through it together.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. The Commanders are parting ways with offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury and defensive coordinator Joe Witt. I guess that is what it is there. And the Cowboys fired defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus. Yikes. Not been a good couple years for Eberflus.
No.
We're not going to get another interesting news in sports today. Kind of bummed that we couldn't rag on Jim a little bit for his Ohio State fandom. Hear him say that this season was a successful one because they beat Michigan.
They're still Thursday. I say we just move some of those notes to Thursday.
Thursday it is. All right, and you can listen to Sports Stuff Betting Stuff on Thursday. Hear how Alex and I concluded the road to 272 bets. Oof. It concluded, everybody.
It concluded. Came to a screeching halt.
The road is now closed.
It needs to be.
I'm not going to say indefinitely.
If anyone has any side jobs, just call me.
Yeah, we might need to put a little bit more money back in the bank account after these last couple weeks, especially for me. But make sure you tune in, because the only way we can take this rocket ship up and away to the moon, past the moon, and to another planet is to tell a friend, make a friend, be